All right. So the reason why I want to talk about this topic is that right before I left my previous company, the producer, he asked me if I had any plans on my retirement. Like he basically asked like, am I going to just continue do projects and videos until I'm 60, 70? And it really just hit me very quickly. Although I did have plans on what I want to do in the future, but I didn't really think about the idea of retirement. I don't know what you think about it, because we're really passionate about filmmaking. Like we never thought of ever stop doing it, right? That's like a whole total. Like that question never came into our mind. Like when we're gonna stop doing filmmaking. Have you ever thought about like retirement issues and stuff?
No, man, it never came to my mind. Especially being young at this age, I didn't think so much about the future, what's next. But yeah, I never thought.
Does it scare you? Like does it?
It is scary. Now that I
Is it
think about
scary?
it, it is quite scary. Yeah, man, because you kind of have to figure out what do you want to do next. But I don't think about it from this perspective, because I think about it because I have this idea in my head that by the time I am going to be at the age of retirement, I'm going to have done so much in my life that I'm not gonna be worried about money.
It's not gonna be an issue,
You know?
right?
Yeah, this is the mindset that I have now. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, but this is how I think about it. You know?
Well, like because recent years, the especially these 2 years, you start to see a lot of young kids talking about investing, finance stuff, money. It's becoming a trend to talk about money. I didn't really like it at the beginning, but it did really make me think about, like, most people didn't have enough education when it comes to finance or money. And I feel like especially filmmakers, we burn all of our money into equipments and stuff. We're like the ones that spend the most money on our passion. And I feel like that's something that we really have to think about, especially now that I started a business. I really am careful with my equipments. Like recently I really want to buy a new lens. I want to buy 16mm for my street photography. But I've been holding on that for so long, because in my mind it's like, okay, if I'm not going to make any money out of this, then I'll just rent it. If it's not going to make me money back.
Dude, that's so interesting, because I also have had the same kind of click, like the same click happened for me, the same idea, because in the past, I always wanted to, like, I always loved the idea of buying gear, you know? I didn't like the idea of buying it. I just liked, I thought like I need this and I need that. And I still do think to some extent, but recently I've been thinking about I want to buy a tripod, right? I just want to buy a tripod. And I've been thinking about it for like 2 weeks. I'm like, do I really need that tripod? Is this a good investment for me? Even though it's a tripod, and I can go and buy it. I don't give a shit, But I've been thinking about it. It's like, what's the return on investment of this tripod if I buy it? Do I really want to buy this tripod and use it once or twice and then keep it in my room collecting dust, and then I never use it again?
Exactly, yeah.
And then I came up with the suggestions that if I really need a tripod, then I would rent it before every shoot, But then there's always this debate between me, like in my head, is that like I can rent it, but also like renting it might, like if I keep renting it, it might cost more than if I actually have bought it before, And so I've been having like this debate of like about gear, like whether you should actually rent gear or actually buy it, And it's like, if you buy it, what's the return on investment of that thing that you bought? Buying a gimbal, for instance, you just use it a couple of times, and then you don't know if you're going to use it in the next project. And so I've been having the same
I do feel like
thoughts.
Maybe you can have a goal, set a goal, which we can apply even like we were going to talk about the retirement thing. It's like every time I actually have a list on the priority of equipments that I need to get.
Oh, sure. Really?
Yeah. I have a list of it. So like, if the next big money, the next big check that I get, this is the next thing I'm gonna get. This is, like the 16 millimeters is like a personal thing, so for my photography stuff. But like I know that. But for the business, for example, the next camera that I want to get is the Sony A7S III. And I don't want to get into camera stuff, but like the reason why I didn't pick it over Blackmagic, which is something I would really want to get, is because of the autofocus. Like as a business, I feel like there's more I get more flexibility if I can get like a really good autofocus, even as a one-man crew or for a big crew. Autofocus is help a lot. But anyways, I don't want to get into camera stuff, but I have a priority on what do I need next, and also how do I get it. So I do set goals. So I want to get back into the retirement thinking. It's like you set a goal on what is your ideal state. Well, like you said, you imagine yourself to be at a certain state when you're 60 years old. That's how I imagine also. Like I haven't retired yet, but and once you imagine that state, you start to cut it into small pieces on what are the things that you need to achieve that certain things. So in my case, so far I've planned is I'm gonna inshallah, I'm gonna continue to do filmmaking until I die. That's actually my wish. I don't really want to stop doing photography or filmmaking. Like even if I switch my career into something else, I'm still gonna do photography. But my current plan is I'm gonna continue to do project, but I'm gonna focus a lot of time on a lot of side hustle, such as this podcast, such as a YouTube career, and I even have plans on producing content from my business. So the company I have right now is called Random Studio. So I have planned on making Random into a brand. So I like, for example, I already worked out the whole plan right now. I'm still working on it, but like I want to have like Random Artist. It's basically a show where I interview all kinds of artists and creators here in Taiwan. I'll produce like weekly shows, and then we talk about stuff, and like hopefully I can get other extra incomes. And I want to do like random digital assets. Like I want to hire a bunch of digital artists to create templates and like filmmaking templates or transition packs and stuff, and also sell on my website. It's like I'm just trying to, like they always say, diversify your income stream and all that stuff. It's like I want to, based on the type of things that my company do, I want to produce all kind of things that they can get from me as well. So I want to create a lot of digital product and also contents for them to watch, and basically really secure my digital identity on the space. So then when even if I retire, you can have people still working on those stuff. You get it? Like what my ideal plan is that to take away my how can I say, like I don't need to be in the company for the company to run. That's
to stop trading your time for money. I guess that's how they call it.
Yeah, exactly. And also not having the company to be fully dependent on me. Like the concept and the idea of it is more important than me being in there. Obviously, I'm gonna be there most of the time, but once I implicate all of my ideas and stuff into it, it should be able to run by itself, so that I can finally retire. And my idea of retirement is that I don't need to be worried about money to survive. That's like I don't even need to be Bill Gates. I just don't want to worry about rent, food and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully I can give some money to my children if they ever need some help. That's my idea of it.
Yeah, man, that sounds great. I don't have that much level of certainty of what I want to do, but I guess what you're saying, like, is freedom, right? You want freedom, like, of being able to do whatever you want, and not trade your time for money, each hour for a certain amount of money, to kind of like be able to let things hand off, and at the same time keep that business generating your money. And it's a tough thing to do, but it's definitely worth it, and you can keep your time to work on stuff that you also enjoy, like taking more photos, perhaps. Like you can you can channel more of your energy into your artistic expression, right? And the things that you enjoy doing. That kind of one of the goals of me, right? Because I feel like one of the things that I've been thinking about is that, look, when you start out working in the filmmaking industry, right? There are the things that you want to do, and there are things that make money, and usually those things don't align. They don't come together, right?
Exactly.
And your goal as a filmmaker is to go apart and then meet at the end of the day somewhere in the middle, where you kind of make money from the things that you enjoy, right? And that's where I kind of see myself doing, right? Making a lot of money from the things, from very little projects that I passionately love to work on and enjoy, right? And that is my end goal, right? Because I feel like now I'm like stuck in this balance between things that generate money that I like to do, but don't quite have kind of artistic and freedom of expression to kind of be passionate about. And there are the things that I kind of love to do, you know? And I want to kind of try to bring these two closer together and meet in the middle, you know, and hopefully somewhere run other things as well, like you said, like diversify, which is a funny thing to say, diversify my income streams, like, you know, the podcast, perhaps generate some content on the internet. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, if you have collected experience, and by the time you reach, I think I reached like a certain age, I would have probably collected some experience, you know, and I can perhaps teach and give that to other people. And so, yeah, this is where I see myself going, but I don't have quite a certain expectations of like, what do I exact step forward I need to do, you know?
What I do notice from a lot of people who so-called like very, very successful at the early age, and a lot of times what you see in them is that they are so sure on what they want to do at their very early age. That's what I see as an advantage, because when you don't know what you want to do, it's almost like you don't even know what game you're playing. You know, if you know exactly what is the end goal that you want, then to you it's just like a straight line. You just have to run towards that. But if you don't know, then you don't even know where you should run towards. And that's why those people, they get successful early, is because they know where they should go. That's all. So I feel like it seems to be the easiest thing to do, but it's also very hard for most people, is to have a very like clear,
specific
a very specific end goal on what you want to do. And after that, which is something I learned from the future Crystal, to break it down. Break it down is really important, because it always seems so overwhelming when you set a very big goal, right? When you talk about that big ultimate goal, it's almost scary to even talk about it. Like, you don't even feel like you have the right to talk about being like free or do whatever you want. It's like how dare I even think about that? But once you kind of just split it into multiple goals, it seems that like it's approachable. You can kind of take it step by step. And they always say the failure that most people has is that they didn't even take the first step. You just have to do it first, you know?
Yeah, man. Totally. Once you like divide like your goal into steps, and like take each step one day, each day you take a step forward, then. And I agree with you. I think the people who have became very successful or did what they wanted to do early in life are the ones that have decided before, you know, prior to very early on, and took that decision and continued on it. And if you don't take decisions, and I don't think like I am that certain from my case of where I want to be, but I have a rough idea. I have a kind of I have a theme right in my head, and I feel like you don't need to be very specific. Once you have a kind of sense of a feeling, a vision, then that can transfer later on into, because you can attract that, right? Whatever you want to do, you can attract it to yourself, right? And that could come on in different ways. I hope what I'm saying makes sense.
I understand, and I feel like it's always important to find things that you're passionate about, obviously, because then you don't feel that extra stress in doing it. Because like the thing, there's another perspective from those people saying that you want to get your freedom when you retire.
Yeah.
A lot. If you look at Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett, these people, they work harder than anybody in the world. Yet they're the richest people. Like, how is that? Do they even think about retiring and just do nothing? It's like it's in their genes that they love what they're doing, and that's why they don't stop doing it. Right? It's what makes them satisfying. Actually, there's a really interesting, quick story that I heard someone told me about retirement. Now, I don't want to get too long, but it really made me think so deeply on the idea of retirement. So there's this like very rich man on an island. He's having a vacation on an island, and he's at the beach, right? And then he saw this fisherman came to the, what is it called? He came with a boat, right? And the boat is half has a lot of fish, but it's like half full. It's not even full. It's just like it took half of the place of the boat. And then the businessman asked the fisherman, say, hey, like, why you only get like that much? Why don't you get more fish? And he said, oh, this fish is enough for me to feed my whole family for a year. And he said, oh, so what you gonna do after you sell the fish? He said, I'm just gonna chill with my wife, take a nap together, and I'll play with my kids and have fun with my friends, basically. Like that's what I'm gonna do for a year, and I'll just go get fish the next year again. And he said, but you know what you can do? Because he's a businessman, right? He said, get all of the fish, as much as you can, get a full boat of fish, and then come back. He said, what am I going to do? He said, then you can make a lot more money, and then you can hire other fishermen to do it for you. And I said, oh, what can I do with that? He said, then you can open a fish market and then have all the people come to you and make even more money. And then you can do an IPO and have people invest in your company, and then have a lot of branch, and then sell it worldwide, internationally, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. And then the fisherman said, okay, so, and then I said, then you can finally retire and live at the beach and have fun with your family, sing with your kids, have fun with your friends and your wife, all of that stuff. But those are literally the things that he's been doing now already. I don't know if you get the story. Did I tell it wrong?
Yeah. So the businessman kind of goes all the way round to just for no reason.
Exactly. That was the
from that guy's perspective.
Like he's been doing it already.
Yeah. But here's the difference between both of these two people I see, right? One of them, the business guy, thinks big, right? While the other person thinks small, right? Yeah. And that's the difference between people who are businessing and people who create things, and the people who stay employees and stay. Not that there's anything wrong with staying an employee if you want to do that, but that's the difference between people who create big things, is that they aim big, right? And that's the difference between the business guy and that normal fisherman,
I understand that. That's from the business perspective. Like what I'm talking about is like, what are the things that make you happy?
What are your goals?
No, he doesn't need to work that hard to get what satisfies him. That's the whole point of it. Like,
he's already happy. Exactly. He's doing what he wanted to do. So why does he want?
The thing that gave you like the satisfaction is free, in a way. Yeah. Obviously, he still have to work, but it's not that hard. You don't have to work. You have to do the whole circle to get that end goal. But I agree with you. I think from the businessman perspective, it's like, okay, yeah, if you want to get bigger, there's a way to do it. Right? Yeah. Well, I
just have to think big.
I haven't thought of anyone speaking from what you just said. Like everyone thought what I said makes sense. But the businessman is seeing everything from a more macro perspective, maybe, right?
Yeah. And they think that like you can always get somebody to do something that you don't want to do, but the guy wants to do it. That's the difference. So
yeah. And there's this book that I read called the Law of Peter, Peter Law or something. I heard of that book.
No.
It's so interesting though. It's like a study talking about eventually, if people keep on promoting in a big company, in a big corporation, if people keep on promoting throughout their whole career, eventually they will end up at the position where they don't fit in. They're not good at. And then they're going to be stuck there forever. And then that whole book is just talk about like example. For example, there's this woman, she's very good at teaching. But that's what she's good at. She's so good at teaching high school kids. But then the school thought, oh my God, you're such a good teacher. I should promote you to as the headmaster of the school, right? But these are totally different.
Two different fields.
Yeah, but to people, it's just you're going vertically up. But that doesn't always mean that you fit what you do and that you're happy with it. And the book also mentioned that people who end up at the wrong position, they always end up very miserable. Some people are very good at sales. Like you're at the car dealers, right? You're a very good salesman. So they promote you into become like a manager and then become the store manager. But then that has nothing to do with the sale anymore. But then you become very bad.
Yeah, Gary Vee talked about this as well. He said that, you may not have to become the CEO, you might be way better at doing your job, and benefiting the company by becoming an assistant or becoming, that might be your thing, that might be the thing that you love to do, and that might be the thing that you're good at, and that people can benefit from it, that if you were an assistant or instead of becoming a CEO, and so ambition is all about what you want. It's not about climbing the ladder blindly, and that's what people mistake, I think. So if you're happy doing whatever you want to do, then there's no problem with
because
that.
Because there's expertise in anything.
Yeah.
What I
just be good.
What I do see from most people who has like interesting like job that it's very hard to be promoted or I don't know, like transferred. A lot of time they end up opening these online classes. Like I've seen so many, not like weird, but things that I've never seen before on Skillshare. They teach very interesting thing, and these are things that usually people wouldn't get hired to do or something, but they can teach. So like you said, if you're a very good assistant, let's say you're so passionate about being assistant, which I've never heard of, but I'm sure some people are very good at being assistant. Maybe they can also open an online course, have a platform, promote your contents, and you can still make a lot of money from it.
Yeah, and be the best fucking assistant ever. Man, that's something.
Yeah.
That's something exciting and something to be proud of. Just be good
for sure. 100%. Yeah, and
be the best assistant in the world.
You'll be happy, and but honestly, when it comes to money, I feel like our generation is kind of like the best generation of monetizing anything. Literally, as long as there's an audience, you can monetize it.
Yeah,
and that comes back to the topic of today again. It's like if you want to retire, you can always do something that you're passionate about and just make content out of it. That's still a way to retire while doing what you love, while making money. Isn't it? It's like but the thing is, because you never know how long it takes for you to start to be able to monetize your content, you have to start very early so that you accumulate the reputation and the audience, which is why I really try to start everything as early as possible so people already know me. So hopefully like 30 years later, I would have enough audience to check out my stuff that I don't really need to work on it.
And these things take time as well, It's not like a night at a day and you can boom, you have everything, you have an audience built up, you have everything ready. You need to take your time. And so when you do it when you're young, you have a lot of the time, like what we are doing with this podcast, we're obviously very young, and we are learning on the way and collecting a lot of experience and knowledge doing this, And so by the time we're going to be good at it at some point, and things are going to start to flourish, hopefully.